Hello everyone! I hope you're ready for another adventure because today Wayne continues to read The Ancient World, Ancient Aztecs. Always remember that as we go through these amazing adventures and read these outstanding stories, all you have to do is press the CC button in your YouTube link in order to follow along with the words. Now I think North Star will be perfect to join us for today's adventure. Now that North Star is here, let's jump in. The Ancient World, the Ancient Aztecs, Chapter 2, Ruling the Aztec Empire. Montezuma II stood at the pyramid as the people of Tenochtitlan watched silently from below. Trumpets blared as the Aztec noble prepared to begin his coronation, the ceremony that officially made him Tlatoan of the empire. The coronation lasted for several days, and in the end, the Aztecs saw Montezuma as something greater than a mere human. Before there was an Aztec empire, the Mexica and the other migrants from the north had strong ideas about who should rule them. The gods, they believe, had made some people superior to others. These were the nobles of Mexica society. They were thought to be related to one of the two major gods, Quetzalcoatl or Xicotecuhtli, the Mexica fire god. All the Mexica rulers had to come from noble families. The cities of the Triple Alliance and the smaller cities within the empire were known as Altepetl. They are what today are sometimes called city-states. A powerful core city with surrounding villages that were associated with it. Each Altepetl had its own supreme Tlatoani. For part of the Aztec history, the Tlatoani and the Tenochtitlan ruled as the empire of the Aztec lands. Mexica history says that the chieftain named Tenoch served as leader of the tribe when it reached Tenochtitlan in 1325. Tenoch was supposedly elected by a group of nobles, whom he consulted before making decisions. Some modern historians, however, consider Tenoch a legendary figure. They claim Acamapitzl was the first true Tlatoani. The Tlaloc, plural for Tlatoani, in most cities consulted with nobles and at times with warriors and priests. With one Altepetl defeated another, the winning side let the losing Tlatoani stay in power, as long as the loser agreed to accept the authority of the winning side. The defeated ruler also had to make sure his people paid tribute they owed to the victors. The word Tlatoani means speaker. In a sense, the Tlatoani spoke for all his people in dealing with other tribes. The Aztec emperor was called the Huey, or Great Speaker. In essence, the first Tlatelolcu were the commanders-in-chief of the Mexica during the wartime. Over time, they took on other duties, including religious ones. The Tlatoani performed a rite designed to ask the gods for rain and made decisions for the community based on signs of nature thought to reflect the gods' desires. Becoming Tlatoani, male members of the royal family elected the Aztec Tlatoani. The new ruler was usually the son or brother of the previous one. Once elected, the new Tlatoani was officially given the power to rule. The coronation ceremony was a key event in the life of the Tlatoani. By becoming king of his people, the ruler was taking on a serious responsibility. He would face troubles in Tenochtitlan and have to fight foreign wars. His people expected him to rule wisely, seek the truth, and, according to one record of the coronation speech, put forth all thy effort, give all, and put forth all thy spirit. At the coronation ceremony, the new Tlatoani first took off all his noble clothing and wore a simple loincloth. With this act, the emperor to be cast aside his past as wealthy and powerful member of society. As part of the ceremony, the Tlatoani cut himself to offer his blood to the gods. On the 5th day of the coronation, the Tlatelolcu of neighboring Texcoco and Tlacopan put a gold crown on the new emperor and adorned him with gold jewelry. After many speeches, the new Tlatoani gave gifts to nobles and warriors, then had a huge feast. But the coronation was still not over. Although chosen by the gods to rule, the new Tlatoani still had to prove his skills on the battlefield. War was a crucial part of Aztec life, since it brought wealth to the empire and provided the victims needed for sacrifice. For his coronation war, Montezuma led an army of about 400 miles to the south of Tenochtitlan. The towns in the region, called Napoleon and Icapetec, had built strong forts to resist them from attack. The Aztec, however, used ladders to climb up the enemy's walls. Montezuma won his war and demanded tribute. He also took prisoners back to Tenochtitlan. Some coronation wars, however, were not as successful. Tizoc, who ruled for only 5 years, 1481 to 1486, almost lost his first war. The enemy was ready for the advancing Aztec army and dealt them heavy losses. Tizoc returned home with only 40 prisoners, and his struggle was seen as a bad omen. A weak ruler and commander, Tizoc was possibly poisoned by nobles who opposed him. The Tlatoani of the Aztecs shared ruling power with the Xicotecuhtli. The Mexica had a goddess of the same name, which meant woman serpent. The Xicotecuhtli, however, was always a man. This position seemed to have the most power in Tenochtitlan compared to other city-states in the Valley of Mexico. Cihuacuatl was in charge of the affairs within the city-state and may have rarely left the main urban area. His duties included running the Altepetl when the commander was away at war and serving as a judge in major court cases. The Cihuacuatl also gave advice on military strategy and received a share of the tribute that came home from defeated peoples. The Cihuacuatl played a role in some religious rites as well. It was his duty to arrange the sacrifice of foreign prisoners. Under Montezuma, the office of Cihuacuatl lost some power, as the Tolotani wanted to control more of the government himself. The Spaniards, however, kept the position for a short time after they ended Montezuma's rule. The last Cihuacuatl, Tlacotzin, was chosen in 1524. No one person, or even a handful of nobles, could rule an empire as vast as that of the Aztecs. The Tlatoani relied on a number of people to keep the peace and keep tribute flowing to their palaces. Aztec rulers usually let local kings remain in control of their lands, as long as they were loyal to the Tenochtitlan. In some cases, however, Aztecs might replace an unfriendly king with someone from the royal family who would obey their orders. In rare cases, the Aztecs put their own ruler in charge of a defeated Altepetl. The provinces closest to Tenochtitlan provided tributes of all kinds. Strategic provinces sat along the border of the empire's enemies. They provided military defense against possible attacks, and some also sent prisoners to Tenochtitlan for sacrifices. In other outer provinces, the Aztec kept their own troops to prevent enemy attacks. The Aztec military presence would also ensure that the local people did not rebel. Throughout the empire, tax collectors called Caxapi were important to government officials. They made sure the various towns paid their tribute. The tribute collected by the Caxapi went to the emperor, but local residents often had to pay other kinds of tribute. Some went to the Tolotani of their city-states, and the rest was given to local nobles. Some people, however, did not have to pay tribute. These included nobles, priests, merchants, and teachers. Within towns and villages, the Kapuli was the smallest political unit. The first Kapultan were clans, or groups of related people. Over time, the Kapuli became a neighborhood that contained residents who were not necessarily related to each other. Its leader was elected by the elder men of the Kapuli. The new leader was often the son or another relative of the man who held the position before him. This leader made sure that all the Kapuli paid the tribute it owed to the organization and organized residents to carry out building projects. Each Kapuli also educated the local children, from the small scale of the local Kapultan to the far-reaching rule of the empire. The Aztecs built and maintained a system of government that resulted in an orderly life for the average citizen. Oh wow, that was a lot that we learned today. What did you think, North Star? I like that part too. We'll see you the next time, okay? And we'll see you in the next time, here with Wayne Reads. Thank you for joining us, and we can't wait to see you again. Bye-bye.